what place did you come in?
I came in third place.
Third place? Okay. What deck were you playing today?
I played a very spicy Jemial Luna list.
And what made you want to play that today instead of Hoana?
So I didn't want to play the mirror. Truth be told, it's I hate the concept of playing mirror matches because it accentuates like how much luck is involved in card games. So it's better for me as a player or I feel more comfortable playing non-mirror decks. So you want to just get to it?
Yep.
All right, it's perfect. So I have everything set up. I borrowed this fancy one from my boy Phil Pena. You know, the champion over here, top 16 competitor as well.
Yep.
So. I have like the high cards set up first. So I'll explain these cards because this is important. Mei-Yu still hasn't changed. It's still one of the best cards in the format. So playing Mei-Yu for blue is obviously a good reason. And the black gives it some very extra power, a lot of power, which I can show later. And Juggernaut, we considered the best creature in the format. Or best unit, sorry. So it was very sticky. There weren't many answers, and kind of like any other Argent rares like Professor Rudy and stuff, units that stay on the board and generate value, and its value is not dying, it's very important in this game because there's so many there's so much minion combat, and between the towers being so broken and stuff, that like having a guy that's guaranteed to stay on the board is super important, and it helps you get to the late game. So to round out the deck, we played some role players. So, Azure Guardian was great. It was honestly one of the best cards in the deck just because in order to fight Hoana, you have to be able to invalidate certain cards. So you have to invalidate the early game, which is the 1Ks, any failed golems, any cards that they play shriekers. And then you invalidate the tokens too because 15k sacking into a 2k Guardian means that it works negatively in their favor. So this card overperformed. It also happens to be a Yami target, which we'll talk about later. So it definitely it merited its inclusion. Wavebender is also a fantastic card for the deck. It gives you way more play, Yami value, so it gives you combat tricks. And because Jemial, you can manipulate your graveyard. There are plays where it's like during your opponent's turn, you could draw 2, discard 1, happen to discard it and Yami it. So this is one of the awesome answers to have. The Stormfish was another one. It probably would be a 4th Wavebender if that card existed, but the Stormfish was just another like flex slot. And then Kako is actually the spice of the deck. They banned Urgon, rest in peace. So I had to find a way to play him, and Kako was the closest thing we can to it. Being a Yami target because it's a 3-drop means that at the end of my opponent's turn, I could bring it back, and then I could start stacking my deck again. So I'd be able to put Mei-Yu's back. So there were no Transfiguration Masters in the tournament besides a top 16 player. Mm-hmm. So likely, if your threat died, it was going to die. It wasn't going to get expelled. So being able to put it back at the top of your deck every turn was fantastic. I was able to trade Juggernauts into decks that went bigger with Hallowed Crystal. I was able to trade, get back my Argent rares, so any Mei-Yus that died or Harbingers and stuff. So it was fantastic, all things considered. Then the last couple role players, we have 3 Azure Seers and 3 Mr. Kins. So this deck is a more controlling Jemial deck. So it's important to play, you don't have to play the 1Ks. You just want to play cards that sort of find you to the best cards. The plan of the deck is to get to the late game using Juggernaut and Mei-Yu to lock your opponent out of cards. And with Kako's ability, you can stack your opponent's deck as well too. You can target a unit in their graveyard. So getting to those cards is way more important than attacking early, which is why we played a Mr. Kins over the Amateur Witch.
Yeah.
And Azure Seer is it's an important, it's a role player. It's 1 mana, you get to scry 1, and then you get to add counters to Jemial, and then eventually it turns into a card. So moving on to the black cards, or dark. This is the reason why I decided to play anything else other than Jemial Sola or another card. So the one of Delayed Poison, it was just a last minute inclusion. I felt like I wanted to have harder removal early game. The deck ultimately is kind of soft to Raging Shard Beast if you don't hit your Azure Guardian. So I wanted to have an answer for it. This is the one card that probably could flex out, but Yami it needs no explanation. It's one of the reasons to play Dark in this game. Soul Transfer was a very good card today. The plan was that there were going to be a lot of Demon of the Evil Eyes being played against us. So you can Demon and get back your 4s or 3s, and it's a very strong play as far as like keeping up tempo. And it also happens to be a hard removal in a color that doesn't have it. So blue is known for its bounces, its Ancient Serpent's Breath, its tidal rushes and stuff like that. Yeah. So being able to go, oh, for sure, I'm going to get rid of this threat was fantastic, and getting value out of it too. And then the Golem of Vengeance, it almost overperformed. So Demon of the Evil Eye was also an option, but the Golem guaranteed card advantage. It was I played it. Got to discard a card. It happened to have Destroyer, so it had to be respected, and there was just really no playing around it. And 4K is big enough to beat other opposing Juggernauts. So having a body, first having the body was important, but also the fact that it was guaranteed card advantage too. So I wouldn't play any less than this, but these could be swapped for the demon if people feel the need to. It might merit more testing, but like your guaranteed card advantage in a deck where it's like you sort of have manipulate the way your deck draws and when you decide to go for a game and stuff like that. So having the guaranteed cards definitely works. So, and also like most blue decks, we happen to be soft to Sophia, so you want to be able to make sure that you can hit it out of the hand. So,
okay.
And 2 cards. So. Always, all decks should play a Watchwoman because, like most control decks, we tend to go to time. So you want to have a way to be able to steal a game out. And once again, we're a blue deck, so that means we have access to Omega Magic Mizu. So on turn 10, we could attack, bounce it back, and attack to break 2 towers.
Tell me about that other card you play, the new one.
Oh, Harbinger of Vabriel. So this card is fantastic. 8-drop, so it's a little expensive, but it does everything we want in the deck. It's a Guardian, but it cannot be targeted by spells. So currently, there aren't many units that say destroy target unit. So if somebody's playing this card, once this card drops, it's likely going to be safe. It's like, so it was a 4th copy of Juggernaut in our eyes. But the effect of being able to restore towers was really the game player. It's like being able to, like, I won a game on, I believe it was round 7, where my opponent had broken 5 towers, but I had broken 4, and my last play in time was play this guy to restore my last 2 towers. So it's incredible for a control deck, and I probably would play it in every single control deck going forward. And yeah, I mean, it's self-explanatory. I mean, you have to play it to see it, but it's fantastic every time, and it overperformed. And for the last bit of the deck, we have spells. So Ancient Serpent's Breath needs no explanation. You're going to play it. You have Mr. Kin's combos where you tap it to turn it to the top of the deck, target with Ancient Serpent's Breath to draw multiple cards. Phantasmal Guard is a perfect role player for the Jemial deck. Being able to put 2 counters and put 2 Guardians out. There were a lot of Hoennas, so it's unfortunate because trading a unit away gives them counters and then it puts more pressure on the board. But it's a necessary evil, so you can't play any less than this. Mizu and Omega Magic in our colors, so obviously you're going to play it. 3, I didn't play it any less. And then the Chronostasis is to help me catch up. So I played against a lot of Juggernaut decks today as well, the mirror match, and I'm not as prepared for them as they are for me. Because a lot of the Juggernaut decks tend to be with base white, with Sola. So they have Hallowed Crystal. Their Juggernauts end up being a little bit bigger than mine. So Chronostasis was a way to answer those threats. And then anything else that they presented, we were able to answer with the Soul Transfers and Mei-Yus and whatnot. So, so a little detail about the deck is that I built it about 5 minutes before the tournament started. So this deck is not perfect. It's not one that I was super confident with, but I'm very happy with how the results turned out. And so going forward, I'll probably start updating the list a little bit more, and I'll fix it because I think it may be like 4 cards from being perfect in the main board. And I won't even show you the sideboard, although I will talk about just a few cards, because I really did throw it together. There's a lot of things that I don't want to give out bad content, so if that's all right. But I will tell you that if you're ever going to play this deck, you should definitely sideboard these 3. So this is a combo that's available to blue at any point, and it's Taphael by himself, he's just a fantastic card. Just a brawler, 5K. That means that it could destroy opposing Juggernauts. So if you get to go, if you go against the mirror or any Juggernaut deck, you have an out to their Juggernauts as well. The Crystal Dimension Dragon is probably one of my favorite cards in the game. I'm always going to play it. But it's important that if you happen to have Juggernaut or anything that shard drains, you play a Wyvern Crystal. The Wyvern Crystal, it'll come into play tapped all the time, but it'll allow you so that you shard drain, put it back to the bottom of the shard deck, and then get back the Crystal Dimension Dragon every other turn. So you get to stun your opponent every other turn. So if you're trying to like stall out a game or sort of create tempo by giving them bad turns, like a turn of Chronostasis and then drop this guy is fantastic. You just clean up the board. So something to note. And then if you can, also sideboard 3 Cryptic Deflection. This card is fantastic for the Liam matchups because making a creature a unit not be able to be targeted means that they can't equip their augments as well too. So it's an answer to Ishkandar.
Like Liam decks, pretty much.
Yeah, Liam decks, and also if Soul Transfer picks up, you definitely don't want your Golem of Vengeances or any of your big guys to be Soul Transferred because that's just a bad time. I was able to actually Soul Transfer a Liam to get back my Harbinger, the Harbinger of Vabriel.
Yeah.
And that it was a fantastic time for me, but I don't think my opponent had fun. So it was a great tournament. It was run very well. A lot of my friends were here, and we all had a lot of fun. So I really can't complain. It was a great event. So if you guys are looking for more content, make sure to subscribe to More Mana Gaming, and I'll catch you guys later.